Alabama Republicans reject Donald Trump's candidate. U.S. President Donald Trump received a slap on Tuesday from Republican voters in Alabama, who sidelined his candidate in a senatorial election with national consequences. While the leader had put all his weight behind the outgoing Senator Luther Strange, supported by the party caciques, the Republicans preferred him the ultra-conservative magistrate controversial Roy Moore, according to the estimates of the American media. Half of the polling stations accounted for about 57% of the vote. Paradoxically, trumpet figures supported Moore, starting with Steve Bannon, formerly the president's advisor who was ousted in August from the White House, and whose mission was to save the original Trump a deviation by the traditional Republicans. The billionaire, who boasted so far of having won several partial legislative elections, finds himself in the dreaded position of having bet on a loser. The election also illustrates the threat posed by a fringe of the conservative world, in open war with the Republican Party's establishment. Steve Bannon, in particular, declared as the enemy the leader of the Senate majority, Mitch McConnell, without whom Donald Trump's program has no chance of progressing. Ultras like Steve Bannon blame him for his proximity to politico-economic lobbies and elites, and more generally to want to moderate the ideas of the White House tenant. Anticipating perhaps this reverse, Donald Trump had wondered out loud if he had made the right choice. "I may have made a mistake, to be honest," he said last Friday, when he had come expressly from Washington for a support rally. "If Luther does not win, they will say that the President of the United States was not able to win his candidate. It is terrible for Trump, very embarrassing," he said, imagining the derogatory comments that would be addressed to him. But he added, "If his opponent wins, I will campaign for him as never before." The confrontation was less an ideological battle than personalities. No candidate corresponds to the typical Trumpist profile, although each asserted that he wanted to defend the president. Luther Strange, appointed in February by the governor because of the vacancy of the siege, is a classic conservative, lobbyist-turned-politician, and promised his loyalty to the billionaire, who despairs of his reforms mired in Congress. Luther Strange, appointed in February by the governor because of the vacancy of the siege, is a classic conservative, lobbyist-turned-politician, and promised his loyalty to the billionaire, who despairs of his reforms mired in Congress. Roy Moore has built his reputation by challenging the authorities on the place of religion in public space, a theme that is not part of the message of the billionaire New Yorker. "This is your chance to tell the elites who run this country what you think of them," said Steve Bannon, current head of the Breitbart site, at a meeting. Now invested, Roy Moore will face Democratic candidate Doug Jones on the 12th of December. In this very conservative state, he left to become one of the 100 American senators and succeed Jeff Sessions, who had given his seat to Luther Strange after his appointment as Secretary of Justice.